Throughout your pregnancy, sit with your hips higher than your knees, using a couple of blocks, a pillow or a bolster. Sit towards the front of the prop so that the pelvis tilts forward, pushing your bum out like a cheeky bottom. Now draw your tailbone down to lengthen your spine. Notice which buttock carries more weight and sink down into the opposite side. Sitting with your hips higher than your knees and pelvis level will support your alignment and help your baby get used to being in a good position for birth. This is called optimal fetal positioning, or OFP. The golden triangle. Think of your knees and pelvis as a golden triangle and always sit with the knees no wider than the distance between your knee and hip. This applies to all sitting positions, whether on the floor, sofa, in a chair or car. Whatever activity you are doing, keeping the width between your two legs no wider than the length of your leg can help prevent pain developing around the pelvis. This applies whether you are taking your legs out to the side or one leg behind, and particularly when practicing yoga. Longer lunges are not advisable during pregnancy as the pelvis cannot stay well aligned. Bringing the back knee to the floor helps, along with squaring the hips to the front. If you are already affected by any pelvic pain, including symphysis pubis dysfunction, or SPD, or pelvic girdle pain, PGP, the distance between your legs should be reduced from the length of your leg to the distance between your knee and hip for all yoga positions, walking, and any other activity. Imbalances between the joints of your pelvis and overstretching can lead to PGP and SPD. Changing positions. Most injuries occur when changing position, so it's important to keep the rectangle of your hips and shoulders intact and move with your knees level. This is especially important when getting up from your bed or out of a chair. To get in and out of the car, you may need to move your car seat back to allow your legs to swivel around together. Sitting positions. Now practice keeping your knees level as you move from one sitting position to another. You can kneel with blocks or a bolster under your pelvis, or sit with both legs to one side, pressing your pelvis into the bolster or blocks. You can take your legs straight out in front, or you can cross your legs. If you have varicose veins, it is best to avoid crossing the legs in any position. Putting your feet up with feet higher than hips is very good for varicose veins and swollen ankles, making sure that your lower back is supported so that your pelvis does not tilt backwards. Lying on your side. Draw both knees level and come safely down onto your left side by sliding your left arm along the floor. Use cushions or blocks to align your head and neck with your spine, and then place some kind of support under your right knee so that your right knee and hip are level. Draw the left leg straight and come a little further over to your right so that your left hip is slightly further back, and this will bring more comfort when you are sleeping. Lying on your left is beneficial to both you and your baby because it maximises blood flow and encourages optimal fetal positioning. If this is uncomfortable, roll to your right and place a thin cushion under your bump. Rolling from one side to the other. To roll from one side to the other, without pulling on your abdominals, draw both knees up in front and engage your pelvic floor muscles to roll onto your back. Keeping your head and shoulders on the floor, push into your heels to lift your hips and change sides. Lying on your back. In late pregnancy, if lying on your side is not an option, you can lie on your back, but your shoulders must be much higher than your hips, with lots of support from the base of your pelvis up, and also have some support under your knees. From lying to sitting. To come from lying to sitting up, move onto your side and draw both knees in front. Use your elbows and hands to help you push up so that you're not using your abdominal muscles. Come to sitting. Moving from the floor to standing. Come safely onto all fours, keeping both knees level as you move, and make sure your feet and knees are both wide. Tuck your toes under, then rock forwards and backwards to gather momentum. Walk your hands back, lifting both knees at the same time, walking your hands up your thighs, stretching them all the way up and having a little wiggle as you release to standing. Standing posture. To stand well in pregnancy, keep your feet parallel and take them a little wider than your hips, knees slightly bent. Lift your toes to spread your weight evenly through the four corners of your feet, the inside ball, inside heel, outside ball and outside heel. Really ground the big toe mound, and as your baby grows, place more emphasis on the heels and outside of your feet. This prevents foot arches getting weak during pregnancy, which can happen as your body softens thanks to those lovely pregnancy hormones. Feel your centre of gravity today by rocking forwards and backwards and side to side. Then place your hands to the top of your thighs. With knees bent, move your thigh bones to the back of your pelvis, which will stick your bottom out a little. We call this cheeky bottom. Keeping the thigh bones back, draw your tailbone towards the floor, lengthening your lower back and lifting the lower belly a little. Watch that the thigh bones don't thrust forward as you lengthen your tailbone and straighten your legs. Now, keeping the lower body steady, take your fingertips to your collarbones and move your upper arm bones straight back until your collarbones disappear. Make sure your chin doesn't get left behind, so lift your chin and move the back of your head in line with the back of your body. You will feel that you need to engage your tummy muscles a little to stay tall, but try and breathe as deeply as you can when standing. Release your arms and take one hand behind you to encourage you to breathe into the back of your waistline. Then release your hand. Your centre of gravity changes every day, so take time to ground and stabilise frequently, feeling the support of the earth beneath you and the support of the sky above you. Twisting safely. To twist safely, keep the rectangle of your hips and shoulders intact as you move. You may look like a robot, but your back will be well protected. Walking. To prevent pain developing in the pelvis, it's important not to swing your hips side to side as you walk. Instead, focus on keeping your hips level and shining forward. What to avoid during pregnancy? High impact exercise is best avoided during pregnancy as joints become very soft and unstable due to the pregnancy hormone relaxin. Damage to joints can be long-term if cartilage is worn down, and subsequent pregnancies and menopause can be affected. As your blood volume increases by around 50% during pregnancy, it is best to keep your heart rate to a level where you can comfortably hold a conversation. Please also avoid deep closed twists, prone positions and unsupported lunges, inversions and back bends, as these are not helpful to the pregnant body or comfortable for your baby. It is most beneficial for the pregnant body to stretch with the breath, not holding for more than 5 seconds or bouncing with the breath. Don't hold your breath at any point or practice strong yoga breathing such as Kapalabhati or Bhastrika. Sit-ups can lead to overtoning, which can cause the rectus abdominis to split. This can affect the weakest and strongest abdominals. Swimming is enjoyable during pregnancy, but it's best to avoid kicking your legs out in breaststroke. This can put an undue strain on the pubic symphysis. Try making small circles with your legs instead, or make any kicks gentle.